Welcome to the lecture. I'm Cynthia McAllister. In this lecture, you will learn about the Cooperative Unison Reading format.
This lecture will be presented by Sabina McNamara. Sabina was a teacher at the Jacob Rees School where I had the opportunity to mentor her for 4 years, and she's become an exceptional learning cultures teacher.
One of the formats of the learning cultures approach is unison reading. Now, this is one of the greatest curriculum changes that personally I've ever made in my classroom. So I'm going to tell you what it is. It's an approach to small group reading instruction. So here's how it works. You choose text leaders, and every student in the classroom gets an opportunity to be a group leader. They choose a text based on their interest, based on the things that they need to read. A group of students then sign up for that text based on, a couple of texts that they have choices for. The group of students gets together on a particular day, and they sit with you 2 days a week for a facilitated unison reading experience, and then they meet independently 2 days a week. Each of those sessions, so it's 4 sessions, each session is 15 minutes long, and the teacher, when you sit with the students, you're acting as facilitator. So the group is coming together around a table to read this text that they're interested in, and they are reading out loud together at the same time, which is rule number 1. Rule number 2, they're keeping pace with each other, right? So that when there is a moment that they are confused by something, or if there's a moment when they're reading that they're feeling shocked or surprised, or if they can connect to something that they're reading, they stop the group. And when they say stop, the group stops reading, and the students then talk about the things they're confused by, or the things that they find really fascinating, or the things that, if it's a piece of new knowledge they're learning. And that's what we call a breach. So the students have the responsibility to breach the group, which means they stop the process of reading out loud. And they say, wait, I can't continue because I'm thinking this, or I'm having this confusion. And then rule number 3 is act in ways that promote learning. So when that student has that breach, or they stop the group for that confusion, it's the group's responsibility to promote that other child's learning by helping them figure out that confusion, or creating dialogue around that moment of aha, like, whoa, that's so cool. So within those 15 minutes, the students are reading to learn, to understand new concepts, to read about different types of texts, science, social studies, literature, and they are stopping the group when they're confused. And whenever they stop the group, they have conversations with each other, and they resolve that confusion, or what we call close the breach. They figure out how to resolve the issue, whatever the breach was, whatever the reason why the group stopped. And then what they do is they close the breach by figuring out what the word means. Let's say if they stopped an unknown word, or figure out what the author's trying to do in any given particular move that the author makes. Or maybe there's something, about the genre that they don't understand. So they work together and facilitate each other so that they can close the breach and keep reading. Now, unison reading is one of the most important and worthwhile formats, I think, because it gets at so much of what the kids know and what they don't know. The rules are simple: read out loud at the same time, keep pace with one another, and stop the group when you're confused. And rule number 3, act in ways that promote learning. The rules are so simple, and the rules are consistent, whether you're meeting by yourself or with the teacher. And those rules then create the space for students to bring what they don't know and learn. And that's why I think it's valuable, because there's so much learning that happens. First of all, when you start out unison reading in a classroom, right, you have your first group of kids, you'll be so surprised at what they don't know. And then you'll also be surprised at what they do know, because you'll make, as teachers, we make a lot of assumptions about what kids know and don't know. So it's a really powerful way to get at small group reading instruction that's directed by the kids, because they're choosing the text that they want to use as leaders. They're choosing the text that they want to be a part of for that week. It's an exciting opportunity for them because they get to bring their confusions to the table. It is not by any means at all teacher directed. It is absolutely student directed, and the teacher is sitting amongst the students acting as facilitator. So let's say if there's something that is really confusing and they can't figure it out, the teacher can do what we call follow in. The teacher can follow into the kids and help them, figure the thing out that they're confused by. It can happen, it should happen every day in your classroom. If you're a teacher, you should be meeting with 2 unison reading groups a day. You can use them for science, you can use them for social studies, you can use them for math. There's such an important format. And you're gonna learn about them by looking at this part of the website. So in order to have unison reading happening and up and running in your classroom, you need access to texts. So maybe they're printing out internet resources, maybe they're choosing magazine articles, textbook entries, whatever they need to read or whatever they're choosing to read. You get 4 or 5 copies depending on how many students are in the group. They sit at a table. You have a unison reading record, and you keep a record of what the conversational moves are, because your job is to track what the students are doing, and then you use that material for your lessons or for your conferences. So you need a unison reading record, you need a couple of students, you need a couple copies of the text. And that's it, really.